Good morning, students. Today we will discuss chapter number 2 from Flamingo book, Lost Spring, written by Annie Zhang. The subtitle of this chapter is Stories of Stolen Childhood. Before going ahead, I just want to tell you that this particular chapter of Annie Zhang has been taken from his masterpiece. The book name is Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. And this is an excerpt. A piece of writing has been taken from the same book, and the title is Lost Spring. Now, Annie Zhang, being an Indian author, journalist, and columnist. Columnist means a person who writes column for the newspaper. She is globally known as a personality, globally known as a person who put herself in Indian society depth and felt the real pain and suffering of vicious circle of poverty and unemployment. So she is the only one character or the author who put herself down to the bottom to understand the pain and suffering of poverty and unemployment in Indian culture or in Indian society. So this particular chapter will talk about poverty, unemployment, pain and suffering. So part it has two parts. Part 1 is sometime I find a rupees in the garbage. Got it? Second part is I want to drive a car. So dear students, we will discuss these two parts in two different videos. So first one today, in first part 1, we discuss sometime I find a rupees in the garbage. In this one, first of all, we should know what is the background of Sahib. Who is Sahib actually? Sahib is a rag picker. Okay, dear students. Now, what is his background? In 1971, there was flood and storm in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Okay, so due to these natural disasters, Sahib and his family, they migrate to Simapuri. And where is Simapuri? On the periphery of Delhi. Okay, on the periphery of Delhi. So this is the background that in 1971, due to some natural disaster or the flood or the storm, they migrate from the green fields of Dhaka. Dhaka, Bangladesh is known for greenery. So they left that place and came to Simapuri and get settled over there. Now, in next part, we talk about conversation between Anis and Sahib. One thing I just tell you, Anis Zhang has written this chapter practically by visiting the different locations of rag pickers and poor people. She does not only imagine about the real situation of the rag pickers, even she herself moves to the concerned location or the places and observe the things and then put her reality on the paper with his creativity. Now, conversation between Anis and Sahib. What kind of conversation? The chapters begins with one question: why do you do this? Actually, Anis Zhang observes Sahib in rag picking, and then one day she asked this question to Sahib: why do you do this? And then Sahib says that I have nothing else to do. Okay, Sahib say that I have nothing else to do, and then Anis Zhang says go to school. Then Sahib says there is no school in my locality or the surrounding. Then Anis Zhang says that if I start a school, will you come here? Anis Zhang give a proposal to Sahib: if I start a school, will you come? Then he says yes, definitely I will come. But after some time, after a long gap, one day Sahib moves to Anis Zhang and asks her Is your school ready? Then she said, it takes longer to build a school. It takes longer to build a school. My dear student, this is just a simple conversation. But the theme of this particular conversation focuses on the promises. Annie Jung say that promise like mine, there are plenty of promise which are kept unfulfilled in this bleak world. Okay, so here the conversation is ended, but it gives a theme that promises are made to be broken or unfulfilled. Okay, so not only Anisang, but there are so many, you can say, people like politicians. They do some kind of promises, but they never get them fulfilled. Okay, so this particular conversation is very important, in which we get to know about the promises, its theme, and school, and the working of Sahib, who is a rag picker. After that, next point is irony in name. You know, to write this chapter, Anis Jung herself goes to the you can say Simapuri and rag picking area to observe their condition. So day by day, after getting involved in them, one day Anis Jung asked his name, and he told his name is Sahib A Alam, which means, what is the meaning of this name? It means Lord of Universe. Understood? Lord of Universe. See, actually, he is a rag picker, but his name is Lord of Universe. This is the irony, dear students. This is the irony, because his name is something else and meaning is something else. This is the irony. Okay, basically, he's a rag picker. He does not know how to earn good kind of money to fulfill the stomach and to enjoy a good kind of life. But his name related to a royal family, like Lord of Universe, such a big name, and his particular name is Sahib Alam. Now, after that, we move to the next part of the chapter, that is about why aren't you wearing chappals? One day, Annie Zhang talks with some kind of children of rag pickers, and there she put a question, why aren't you wearing chappals? Then one of them says, my mother did not bring them down from the shelf. So this was just an excuse. When one student say that his mother did not give them chappals to wear. Actually, what happens? Actually, they never wear chappals because to be barefoot is a tradition in their community. Got my point? Everybody say that I want shoes, I want chappals or the slippers, but the real thing is that in their society, in their community, to be barefoot is a tradition. You might have seen, my dear students, the rag pickers in real life, they never purchase new shoes like us. If they get shoes somewhere else, they wear them even they are discolored or dismissed. They never focus over there. It does not mean that they are with lack of money. It does not mean they don't have money. They have money, but they never waste their money on their outer look. What is the main important part for them? Important part for them is food rather than chappals. So this is the one thing in which we get to know that to be barefoot is a tradition. Got my students? And then a short story about Udipi. So Anijang once visited a temple in Udupi, and there was a child whose father was a priest, and child daily goes to school by crossing the temple. Okay, and the child daily prays to the goddess, to bless him with a pair of shoes. Daily he prays to the goddess. This is the one scenario. Then after 30 years, she goes to the same temple and she found that now the temple is in desolation, but backward of the temple there was a new priest and some chairs was also there. Now the priest has a child and this child has pair of shoes, but this child never respect his pair of shoes because the child gets this pair of shoes from her birth without doing any prayer, even though comparatively the child who has prayed to the goddess has gifted him a pair of shoes, and this child who prays to the goddess says, let me never lose them. This child, the old child, says, let me never lose them. And the new child who comes from school throw the bags on the bed and never respect to the pair of shoes. Why? There is also one theme, my dear students. When you will read this short story of 10 to 15 lines, you will get to the theme of this story, that the things we have we must respect. Okay, if you do not respect anything in your life, whether it is a school tie, whether it is your parents, whether it is your personality, whether it is society, the thing goes away gradually. So whatever we have in our life, we must respect, dear students. Ask the person who does not have such thing which you possess. There is a saying in our culture that ask the value of 1 mark to a students who got failed. Ask the value of 1 minute to a person who missed his train by 1 minute. So we should respect the thing in our life, whatever we have, whatever we possess. Now, next point is visit to Simhapuri. In this part, Annie Jung herself goes to Simhapuri. So, again, I just tell you, in 1971, Sahib and his family got migrated from Dhaka to Simhapuri, and right now, when the chapter was written or composed at that time, 10,000 rag pickers, 10,000 rag pickers, they were living in the Simhapuri. And where the Simhapuri? Simhapuri is on the periphery of Delhi. Thereafter, actually, when they migrated in 1971, it was just like a desert land, wilderness, you can say. Okay, but with the passage of time, as the population grew up, so this particular place, Simhapuri, got mixed with the people. Now, what are the things over there? What is main thing for them? Actually, there are two things. One is voter card, and second is ration card. What is important for them? Voter card? No. Ration card. Why? Because as I told you earlier, food is more important than anything else in their life. So this is the thing. And they say, if the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the field that give us no grain. What could be the reason of migrating from them? First thing is storm, flood. Second thing they say, if by the end of the day they go to bed having pain in their stomach, they don't like to live in green field of Dhaka. Why? Because the green field never give them food, even though the wilderness of Simhapuri give them food, and now they can sleep relaxedly. That's why they stay at Simhapuri. Now, next one is important that if anybody asks to people, those who live in Simapuri, so the answer says that I live in Simapuri. It means what? What does the person do? The person will be doing rag picking. It means Simapuri is known for rag picking because most of the rag picker of this particular area they live in Simapuri. Okay, and one more important thing over there, garbage to them is gold. Very important phrase is garbage to them is gold. Gold refer to livelihood. Garbage, heaps of garbage. Okay, for them is gold. Gold means not only this metal, this means livelihood. Okay, so this is the one thing for them. Okay, dear students, and thereafter the poet talks about garbage has two different meanings. And is this heap of garbage had two different meaning. How? For adult it is a means of survival. It is a means of survival. And for children it is wrapped in wonder. Wrapped in wonder. Why wrapped in wonder? If suppose there is a heap of garbage, and for adult they know that it is a medium of survival, because by collecting garbage they will earn money. Okay, this is the thinking of adult. What for children? Children sometime they find 1 rupees, 10 rupees in the garbage. Okay, so this is the wonder secret. How? They start searching, scrounging for more money. They hope that anyhow they will get 50 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, not. So this is the secret. Wonder. Anytime they can get any coin, anytime they can get any cash amount. That's why it is a wrapped in wonder for the children. So this one we got to know the garbage has two different meaning. For adult it is a means of survival. For children, wrapped in wonder, it means this is a secret for the children. Now, tennis game, very important thing. One day and Sahib observes that there was a game was going of tennis, and we know that tennis we have a particular dress code, isn't it? Sahib was also wearing tennis shoes, but he was also wearing tennis shoes. And where did he get these? A rich person or a rich boy has thrown these tennis shoes in the dustbin. Because what could be the reason? Because out of two shoes there was a hole in one shoe. That's why the rich person has, or rich boy has thrown these shoes, a pair of shoes, in the dustbin. And fortunately Sahib got this pair of shoes. Right now the situation is that match is going on, two people are there, those are playing, but Sahib was standing out of the you can say the court. He also wants to play, but his dress code does not allow, because his discolored shirt and short, his discolored shirt and short does not allow him to play this tennis game, even though he has the, you can say, intention to play the game. And he is fortunate here that he got a pair of shoes thrown by a rich boy having a hole in a shoe. But this was a great opportunity or the great achievement for the boy Sahib, that at last he got a pair of shoes of same color at least. Okay, now the last point of this part first, Sahib is no longer his own master. One day, Anizam meets to whom? Sahib on the way. And Sahib right now having a canister of milk container. Simply you can say milk container. Now he's going to open a shop. Means right now he works as a at a tea stall, and the amount that he get at his monthly salary is 800 rupees, and all meals means food like breakfast, lunch and dinner, three time food, and 800 rupees he is being paid by the tea stall owner. Okay, now he is doing a job. He has left rag picking, but the thing that is most important part is there, this canister belongs to the owner of the tea stall. But the bag, which bag? Plastic bag, which he used to carry over his shoulder to collect garbage, was his own. Okay, now he has become a servant of this owner. He is no longer his own master. So, my dear students, Sahib is no longer his own master because he has sold his freedom by getting 800 rupees per month and all meals, and carrying a heavy canister on his shoulder daily to open the shop and to do all the necessary job of his owner. And my dear students, I just tell you one thing. The first part ends with Sahib is no longer his own master, and when we'll get back to part B, means I want to drive a car, I'll just tell you what is the similarity between, or sorry, difference between these two parts. So that's all for part 1. Thank you. Have a good day.